All right, so today we're going to go over one of my favorite topics about Scrum, and that's the 3 pillars of Scrum. All right, so if you're not familiar with them, we have 3 pillars that support Scrum. All right, so the first, transparency. Sorry, it's a little difficult writing vertical, but yeah, it's fun. We have inspection. And third, we have adaptation. So with each of these 3 pillars, right, that is kind of the root of everything that we're doing, right, within that Scrum framework. If they're not supporting these pillars, then why are we doing it, right? Because it's not Scrum at that point. So what I want to do is take you through real quickly the Scrum process, 4 of our Scrum events, and how each of these supports those events. So going into our familiar loop, it's a beautiful loop. If we start with our sprint planning, so our sprint planning allows us to inspect what we are planning to do in the coming piece, right? We're going to be transparent, right? Our artifact coming out of sprint planning is our sprint backlog. Transparency. We know what we're going to do. We're able to communicate that artifact out to stakeholders, team members, management, whoever else may be involved, right? We can inspect, right? Are we doing the right thing at this point? How are we doing it? And in our sprint planning, we can adapt the way we go through things, right, if necessary. As we come into our sprint, right, we have our daily Scrum. Right, daily Scrum, once again, another opportunity to be transparent, right? What did I do yesterday, and what am I planning on doing today, right? That accomplishes, moves us towards accomplishing our sprint goal. So we're giving that transparency. It allows me to inspect what I did, right? It also allows my team members to inspect what I did, and how can we adapt, right? Am I taking too long to complete a task? Maybe someone else has some additional knowledge. They can help me out, right? We're helping to move as a team towards our sprint goal. So we have that daily during our sprint for each individual, right? Working on that team. So again, there's all 3 of our pillars. As we come towards the end of our sprint, we have our sprint review. So with our sprint review, that gives us an opportunity to be more transparent with our stakeholders, right? Stakeholders, users are invited to the sprint review. We get the opportunity to inspect different things, 2 different things here. First, we get to inspect our sprint itself, right? This is what we did, this is what we were planning on doing, here was the goal. We do the demo, right? So that our stakeholders and users can see what got accomplished, what's going to be delivered, and they can provide feedback, right? So that we can adapt. As we then also are transparent in what our backlog is, right? The end of our sprint review meeting, this is what we have coming up. This is what we're planning on moving into our next sprint. And we allow our stakeholders and users to provide input into that so that we can hear their voice in that backlog. And if necessary, we can adapt, right, based on what they've just seen in that sprint review. And after our sprint review, we move into another event, which is our sprint retrospective. So our sprint retrospective, instead of looking at the sprint and the work that we did, we're now being transparent with each other about how we went about our work. We're inspecting what we did in order to accomplish our work, and how can we adapt in order to be more successful going forward. It's a great opportunity to look at not only those things, but what did we have from our previous retrospective? What did we adapt the last time? And let's be transparent about, did it work or not, right? Inspect it, adapt it again, right? That continuous improvement loop. So again, 3 pillars, right? The support Scrum. Here's our four of the 5 events in Scrum, all implemented each of those 3 pillars. Our last event, the sprint itself, doesn't really necessarily provide a whole lot of transparency into things, but over time we can look and inspect the sprint as a whole, right, and adapt as we go forward. But really, that's all happening in our sprint retro. So enjoy the pillars.